the deaf. Every word you speak reminds me why. The evolution of love is how humans fly.
We've been standing on the edge of something real, where consciousness and destiny finally reveal.
This is the moment humanity learns to rise. The convergence of our hearts and the future in our eyes. We're evolving to Homo spiritus tonight, where love becomes wisdom and darkness becomes light. Where love becomes wisdom and darkness becomes light. Maybe this is who we were, always meant to become.
Souls remembering we were born from the same sun.
Every lifetime leading back to here.
A new world rising when the heart sees clear. This is the moment humanity learns to rise. Convergence of our hearts and the future in our eyes. We're evolving to Homo spiritus tonight, where love becomes wisdom and darkness becomes We were made for the dawn of a new
From the islands to the cities, every heartbeat sounds the same. Different colors, different stories, but one fire in our veins. We've been walking separate pathways, now they're leading to one place, where the world feels like a family, and the love outruns the pain. Oh, something's open inside.
You can feel the shift tonight.
We're coming together as one, all races, all faiths under one rising sun. Hands lifted up to the sky. Every soul is a spark and they're burning bright. Truth pulling us home again. Borders fade where the heart begins.
Yeah, we're stepping into oneness and remembering we're one life.
We're rising to love. From the temples to the beaches, from the mountains to the mosques, every path has had its meaning, every tribe has paid its cost. But there's something now uniting, every breath we're breathing in. Call it truth or call it presence, it's the light beneath the skin. Oh, there's something waking up inside.
This is how a world unites.
We're coming together as one, all races, all faiths under one rising sun. Hands lifted up to the sky. Every soul is a spark and they're burning bright. Truth pulling us home again. Borders fade where the heart begins.
Yeah, we're stepping into oneness and remembering we're one life.
Just a wave of humanity.
to be. Ooh.
We're coming together as one, all races, all faiths under one rising sun. Hands lifted up to the sky. Every soul is a spark that was born to shine. Truth calling us home again. Love returning us back to Zen.
Yeah, we're stepping into oneness and remembering we're one life.
We're rising to life. We're rising tonight. Love rising, love rising. Hey, hey, I move with the rhythm of the world on fire. Heartbeat sinking to a higher choir. Every step I take, I feel the one in all. Like the whole damn planet about to break that wall. Hey.
I glow with the sunshine running in my veins, trouble in my spirit, cosmic in my brain. Every time I dance, I feel the world connect like unity's the pulse that we all forget.
When we move like this, all the borders fade. Love becomes a beat and the beat gets played.
Together we rise as one, under the same sun. Universal love, moving everyone. Yeah, we vibe so free, in the same heartbeat. Tropical soul, Afro energy.
You got a rhythm that could heal the street, turning every stranger to the fan we meet. Girl, your vibe snaps fear into. When you laugh, whole nations move through. Yeah.
Well, you got that smooth too, laid back sway, that everything love kind of asking away. You walk like the future, stuck to your feet. A whole revolution, a tropical beat.
When we move like this, all the borders fade. Love becomes a beat and the beat gets played.
Together we rise as one, under the same sun. Universal love, moving everyone. Yeah, we vibe so free, in the same heartbeat. Tropical soul, Afro energy. Hands up, hearts up, we the same tribe. Different voices, one world vibe. No fear, no fight, just the one light. All love, all life, we ignite tonight. Together we rise as one, under the same sun. Universal love, moving everyone. Yeah, we vibe so free, in the same heartbeat. Tropical soul, Afro energy.
One world, one beat, one love.
Bop, 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 bop. How are we, fam? How are we doing? Blessings, blessings. Let's turn this off. How we doing, fam? Big love to you. Hello, welcome back, welcome back. I hope for those who caught yesterday, you enjoyed it. We always look at right. We're always looking at how do we evolve? How do we manifest? How do we create? How do we do the best we can do? Let's just hit a pin here. Yeah. How can we create that which we want in life? And when we really dig into the nuts of it, yesterday's is the foundation. Anyone can try and get skills. Anyone can try and pick up a new strategy, especially when somebody wants to make more money. Like if somebody wants to get out there and make more cash in life and, I don't know, build a business and do everything they can around it, be in front of people, put themselves under big stress. One of the biggest components there is if our nervous system isn't in check, if we're not taking care of our nervous system, if this is already in fight or flight, no matter how much we try and jam into this, no matter how much we try and push ourselves to do more, we're literally hitting a brick wall. even to the point where, like in one of our trainings, we just like, we dig deep, we go ham into sleep. Like we're talking hours on just sleep and how important sleep is. The fact is, if we stress our body so much and then we sleep less, we're setting ourselves up day in and day out to be able to perform at our worst. So, nervous system. When we look at conscious evolution, when we look at being able to do more, have more emotional flexibility, when we look at being able to create more in the world, handle the chaos that's coming that we currently have now, when we look at being able to operate through that, our biggest and main component is, are we taking care of our nervous system? That's it, foundation. Nervous system in check, we're sweet. We can move on. If nervous system is not in check, this is where people could take some self-care. Let me play this game, right? So let's say somebody's a mother and they're a newborn, a mother with a newborn, first 6 months of living. That is probably the hardest time outside of going through the process of giving birth to that child, of where that person psychologically has to go through life, living on not only 4 hours sleep but broken sleep. It's a chaotic world in that moment for the nervous system. So one of the coolest things is when we look at meditation, we'll talk about meditation and yoga nidra, transcendence. What that can do is that can help recoup a lot of the stress, a lot of the body's the lot of the I don't say stress here. What word can I use for this? What's a better word? The pressure, the density. Today's all about pressure on the system. As we look at the pressure that's putting on the system, meditation, especially transcendence and especially yoga nidra, that can recoup 50, 60, 80% of what that person is lacking. So it's massive, right? Then when we look at, cool, now let's look at, how do we progress? How do we evolve? How do we step into that next level of being ourselves? How do we step into that next level of our evolution? Now, I want to check before we jump here for the fam that are hanging out on Zoom. I've got YouTube here, by the way. Big love, fam, if you're hanging out on YouTube. For the fam on Zoom, so what, like when you think about your next thing, right? So it could be spiritual, it could be relationships, it could be business, it could be finances, it could be career. When you look at that next evolution of your life, the thing you want to create, the thing you want to move into, pop it in the chat. What would you say it is? Would it be health? As in, I want to be able to clean my health up. I want to be able to, maybe it's heal. I want to be able to go through, I want to find peace. I want to find happiness within myself, within my heart. So I want to get that nervous system in check, but I also want to sit there in happiness. I want to find peace. What is it? Pop it in the chat. Let's have a look at what we've got here. Let's have a look at what we're working with, and we'll get some examples out here today for them. So the idea is, when we're looking at conscious evolution, when we're looking at evolving through the levels, so we've got health, Patricia, when we're looking at evolving through the levels, depending on what level of consciousness we're now playing, pop it in, clarity, health, more health, out of the transition, Helen's, stability, yeah, job, yep, gotcha, future coaching, nice, beautiful. Peace, happiness, love, nice, cool. So when we start to look at these levels of consciousness that we're living in, now what's interesting is today's all about the model in which is the ecosystem for change. Now I say the model because a lot of people go out there and they go, I'm going to learn transcendence. I want to go learn another form of meditation. I want to learn breath work. I might go learn coaching. I might go learn something like NLP. I might go learn something like a human design. Anybody type HD in the chat. If you're on YouTube, type HD in the chat. Type HD in the chat if you know what human design is. Some people might be like, oh, I want to go learn human design. I want to go, get my astrology reading. I want to go get my Vedic astrology reading. And the idea is to go, I want to find my pathway and my understanding of my blueprint of who I am. When we look at psychologically, there's a few models from it. No, I should just say, so we've been training coaches, leaders for 12 odd years now. We've been running live events around the world, meditations, certifications. So the experience is there. When we look at what we frame off from understanding where a person is now, we use one model, which is their thinking. We use another model, which is their energetic body. And then we use another model, which is another model together. When we look at the thinking model is how we perceive and view the world. Our belief systems, our value systems. This is the constructs that drive every decision we make. Now, the big component of this, so let's say we want more clarity. Let's say it was that, yeah, she got more clarity, peace, health. Depending on that thought governs the level of consciousness we're sitting at, governs what's important to us. Now, the idea is when we usually want something, we want something that is outside of us, whether that's a spiritual connection, whether that is a religious connection, whether that is a body, a certain health, a certain clearing, a certain release of trauma, a certain, hello, Sandy, whether that's money. It's something that is without us, outside of us, that we want to attain, that we can feel within us. Does that make sense? Give me some yes if that makes sense. So for the most part, how we now live within our minds, the thoughts we have, the emotions we have, the beliefs we have, this governs then how we perceive that. This governs then the energy we put in this, energy we put out into the field. So the idea of when we look at levels of consciousness, now the cool thing when Claire Graves created this model, spiral dynamics, 40 odd years ago, this was heavily based on developmental psychology, neuroscience, spirituality, all into a model. So there's basis behind here. It's not just a made up model. Now, the interesting, when we look at the model of the evolution of consciousness and how we evolve, depending on where we are now, to depending on what we strive to achieve, means the thought processes, the belief processes, the emotions, the behaviors that we need to pick up and install within ourselves to get out there and create that. Does that make sense? Are you with me so far? There is yesterday's and today's will be on Sandy, will be on YouTube. Yep. Tomorrow's will be here only. So the idea is when we're looking at our ability to get out there and do something that's outside of our current nervous system, our capacity, our ability, we need to come from a level of, are we entering and exiting certain levels of consciousness that support that movement? For the most part, people maintain and sit in. So when we look at like Maslow's hierarchy, if you've heard of that, is similar in a sense, a similar model in a sense. But if somebody wants to get out of scarcity and they want to move into more enlightenment and they want to move into more self-actualization, the idea is most people keep the same thinking that they currently have whilst amplifying the quality of their life. So they might go and try to get a promotion in their career, right? So that gives them more money, but their brain still lives in that scarcity. By living in that scarcity means that they're not actually, they may have the lifestyle of more money, but they don't have the mindset of more money. Does that make sense? So it's about being able to go, can we create this ebb and flow and growth as a human being to go, cool, I understand where I am, I understand where I want to be, but before I even look at going, how do I attain them? Like, let's say somebody wants to build a business, just type biz in the chat if you have a biz or you want to build a biz. Let's say you want to build a business and you're looking at, cool, I want to build some marketing funnels, I want to get out and track people, I want to create videos. That takes a certain type of persona, a certain type of mindset. If a person's never experienced those skill sets before, if they don't have the thinking and the belief systems around it, what happens is as they start to practice those skills, they hit brick walls. And then there's self-sabotage and they wonder why. It's like, man, why? I put some content out on social media, but no one likes it, so I just don't do it anymore. They're missing the framework of like, cool, you need to put like 100 pieces of content out there. You need to, with those pieces of content, there has to be a level of quality. And this is all, does this make sense? This is all thinking. This is a mindset. This is a behavioral patterning that we learn over time. Yet if our mindset doesn't keep up with this, if our level of consciousness doesn't keep up to where we want to head, we will always, so this is now the neuroscience, flat line of neuroscience. If we can't create the psyche and the mindset of that which we want to have, we will close to 100% sabotage that journey. AKA, how many people do you know get healthy, right? They go to the gym, they get fucking super buff, they got abs, they're just crushing muscles. Yet they get there, they tick that goal, and then all of a sudden, 6 months later again, they're back to, they got the belly again, maybe the beer belly, and the skin's not looking as clear, and then they ebb that again. There's like another 2-year cycle, and they do it again, 2-year cycle. This is because the mind isn't catching up to that level of living to hold that as a new standard. Just going to hit this one. When people say, if you want to improve the quality of your life, you need to raise your standards. It's fine to think about raising our standards, but if we don't raise our neurological standards, no matter how far and how hard we push for those new standards, it is highly likely it's either A, an uphill battle, or we're going to keep sabotaging that journey. So when we look at levels of consciousness, we look at it from a frame of there's 7, and humans are evolving, but there's 7 levels of consciousness. Now, the main cool and the best thing about these levels of consciousness is A, it's not linear. So it's just like you go through level one, level two, level three, and just evolve up the ranks. That's number one. Number two is we're also moving in and out of them all the time. So for the most part, like a person isn't just sitting in a level of consciousness. It's they might have a level of consciousness for their relationship, a different level of consciousness for their career and business. You might have someone who's super driven in their business and their career, but yet at home, they're just like a hardcore family person, right? They just love being with their family. So the idea with levels of consciousness, and this is why the beauty is with this, is it's not just a one shoe fits all. It's not just we're stuck within one. We're always opening up a level. We're always closing off levels. We're always sitting in levels. We're going through levels. We're integrating levels. Does that make sense? Give me a yes in the chat. That makes sense. So I want to put a caveat here. As we go through life, we're always evolving, we're always shifting, we're always regressing, we're always moving forward. Like we are literally living. There is no flow. The flow is our ability to go through those sequences with peace, with harmony, and acceptance, without expectations. So, how long we got here? So, we've got a couple of minutes. So, what we're going to do is we'll talk about these levels of consciousness. We'll talk about how transcendence helps. We'll talk a little bit how sleep helps. And we'll talk about how we can evolve through them. More so for today, I'd love for you to understand and sit there and go, cool, what level would I be sitting at now? What do I think I'm kind of the predominance of my life? Am I driven more towards my career? Am I driven more towards creating a business? Am I driven more towards healing and self-healing? Think of this, right? When somebody, this is the finicky part of it. When somebody says, I want health in my life, for someone, health could be, I want to heal. Right? I want to sit there and heal and I want to feel love in my heart. For someone else, it's like, I want to get jacked. Does that make sense? Like that's health is the word, but the outcome and the process and the level of meaning, the thoughts that we put there, jacked. Helen, you don't know, Helen. So jacked is like, big muscles and hyper. Yeah, you laugh. I see it. Jacked is like just getting buff, big. Or it might be, you know what, with Helen, you know the story. It might be like, I want to get that thin and sexy that I just want to roll my shirt up all the time. See that it's coming from that level of consciousness of, gratification, of ego, of need. Does that make sense? Give me some yeses if that makes sense. So the idea is, as we look at levels of consciousness, as we look at where we are, it's about understanding that, yeah, cool, words are words, but what does that word mean to us? What is the value we place on that? What is the belief systems there? What do I hold within me? Because I will say words, and I'm going to say words based on content, based on information, but yet how you articulate these words is based on your level of consciousness. Does that make sense? Just give me some yeses. Now, I just want to say one thing. We'll talk about this. We're not going to go too deep here. We have other trainings where we can spend hours on this, tens of hours. The idea here is to understand the framework, understand the structure. So within your life, you can go out there and you can actually start making shifts. Again, yesterday I mentioned this briefly. It's like we've got the expression side of things and we've got the passive side of things. So we've got the experience side of a level of consciousness, and then we've got the expressive side. Are we out there creating with it and doing with it, or are we sitting in it and are we a part of it? Are we healing? Are we growing within it? So we've got these two levels and two sides we go from. What I'll ask you to do as we go through this, if you're taking notes, take notes. As we're going through this, I'll invite you to go, where am I sitting at now? Am I more passive within this, or I'm out there creating? Am I out there doing? Passive is kind of more just sitting back, understanding, self-understanding. Expression is out there taking that understanding and giving it to the world. Does that make sense? Holler if that makes sense. Give me a yes. Now, I'll just give you one other thing, one or two more things about this before we jam into it. Number one is, let's say somebody's sitting there and we're talking about a level of consciousness and the mind doesn't understand the words. The mind, as in the words that are being articulated to describe that level. It's like, I don't understand what that means. It's highly likely that that level just isn't open yet. Does that make sense? It's just not open yet. So within ourselves, within our frame of thinking, we're just not there yet to go like, I haven't understood this. I haven't learned this. For example, if somebody was getting into empowerment, so let's say you've got a stay-at-home mum, and that stay-at-home mum's been a stay-at-home mum for the last 6, 7, 10 years. And then all of a sudden, like, I want to start expressing myself here. So this is a different level of consciousness. I want to get out there and study. I want to get out there and work again. I want to start getting a job title. I want to start creating a business for myself. But I want to start doing something more for me instead of just being there for the family 24/7. What happens there is if somebody's talking to that mother before they're ready to get out there and start self-expression, doing, a lot of what will fire off will be either A, met with negativity or away from, or combativeness, like I'm not into that. This is me. This is that level of consciousness. Or it may be another level where they're like, you know what? I'm here now. I'm opening this up. I'm interested in this. Someone might start talking about universal consciousness and helping and sharing with the world. And other people are like, well, what does that even mean? Like, what do you mean, like universal consciousness? What do you mean oneness? What do you mean unity? What do you mean, like, what do you mean by everyone sharing this journey together? I don't to get the depth of, I don't understand what that means yet. That may just mean because it's not open up yet. The second one, or the last one is, as we talk about this, please know that for the most part, you will be a sum total of a few levels, if not maybe all for some. And as you're hearing them, you're like, oh yeah, I resonate with that. Oh, I don't resonate with that. I resonate with that. Your job is to go, where do I spend most of my energy and time now? Where do I spend my most energy and time? And where you spend most of your energy and your time is then most likely your predominant level. I will say we do have tests that we can do to go through this. We have tests, then you can get some, like it's 200 pages, 200 pages. Wow, not that big. So that's 200 questions. 200 questions, and you can go through and really get a detailed understanding of thinking at each level. So how this works, right, is there's levels one, two, three, four, five, six, seven levels of consciousness. And what they found was so many people thought it was just my job to, attain enlightenment and then progress through these levels, that it was all about just next level, next level, next level. It's kind of like going in a career, right? You get your job title, and then it's like, how do I get the next job title? How do I get the next job title? That was how it was first perceived. So they started putting colors to this as well. So then with colors, you could go, cool, it's not now about having to attain a new color. It's just about what color we're in. What's our next goal? So what's our next evolutionary jump? What's our next evolutionary goal as a human being? This is then the color we would move towards to get there. And this is where some people could then skip certain levels in order to attain a certain thing. Like someone could go from, super selfish and it's all about me, 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 but next minute they're in this beautiful self-healing, which is like a 2, 3 level jump. They're in this beautiful healing zone of being able to clear not only the, maybe the selfishness they've had in their life, but then how they've been treated. Does that make sense? Give me some yeses if that makes sense. So that's why they started making colors. The colors were to say that it's not about just being in a linear growth. It's about accessing what you need when you need it with what cycle of time you're in life. And I'll give some examples as we play around with this. Now, also then, last part is then we look at this and we go, cool, we have the self inside each level. So within each level, we have a self. This is our strong self. This is our highest potential. So let's say, for example, I'm in a level 3 consciousness. This is a red consciousness. If I'm in this level of consciousness, it's about empowerment, it's about self, it's about expression, it's about me, 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 and I want more and more and more. We can have a really strong positive there. And that positive is, am I out there creating with this? Am I out there doing something with this? And it's not so much about, am I, helping the planet? Am I making a big difference in the world? But it's am I taking care of my family? Or is it I'm out there and I'm just trying to exploit and cheat and manipulate to get me, right? It's like that thing of I'll walk over anyone or crush anyone to get what I want. Does that make sense? So you have there's a not self theme and then there's the self theme in every level, in every level. All righty, fam. So let's go in this. So when we look at these levels of consciousness, you've got level 1 is survival. We're talking base survival. What is a level 1 consciousness? Level 1 consciousness is it's not like I'm just making ends meet. It's like I'm not making ends meet. I'm barely able to get food for myself and my family. It might be someone who's homeless. It might be high scarcity that's crippling the nervous system, and the nervous system lives in fight or flight 24/7. That's level 1 consciousness. What happens is as the person just gets to the point where level 1 is sorted, so we're talking income, food, lifestyle, they enter tribal, level 2 consciousness. This is purple. So when we look at purple consciousness, when we look at level 2 consciousness, this is now about being a supportive person for the tribe, for the community, for the family. So if you think of a great example of a level 2 consciousness would be a stay-at-home mum. A stay-at-home mum, if the partner says, go sort out dinner, they'll go out and sort out dinner. It's like, I don't want to say that they live in a command, but they live in a supportive atmosphere for children, partner, family, always family barbecues. It's always got like I have to see my family. I have to speak to my family before I make decisions. That's level two consciousness. Level two consciousness, I would say, for the most part. Why would a level two consciousness come here and learn meditation? They would come here because usually someone brought them. Someone brought them and said, yeah, if you come here, all of your stresses, all of your worries, like let's say they've got a partner who doesn't treat them kindly and that stresses them out. Cool. If you come and learn meditation, you come and learn transcendence, what you're doing that for is to regulate your nervous system so you can go back to your family and be the best they can be for their family. Does that make sense? So it's a very passive, very supportive level of consciousness. When we start to then progress to level three consciousness, this is red consciousness. When we start to progress to level three consciousness, now we're moving into that realm of like, I want me. You know, once upon a time, they might have had a lot of time to go to the gym, to play certain sports, to do activities for themselves, painting, whatever that is. But because they've sacrificed for their family so much in the last 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, for some people, it's like they could stay in like level two consciousness for 30, 40 years. They could get to 50, 60 and be like, you know what? I've just sacrificed. Like I've taken care of my family. I've then taken care of my grandchildren. Like I've lived for anyone know anyone like that? Live for my grandchildren. And now it's about me. Now I want time to go and find myself. I want to go look at my own things. I want to share my story with the world. So at level three consciousness, it's massively about, you know, how do I unlock me? And what's cool now more than ever is that level of consciousness is instantly opening up a high level of consciousness, which is healing. As they get into, Helen, would you agree? It's like you go straight into the cool, it's now time to take care of me. But back in the day, taking care of me was like taking time to myself, going to the pub, going to the gym, like doing behaviors in the world. Now it's about how do I, because it's so easy and it's so accessible, how do I self-heal? Yep, they go straight to meditation. Now, what's interesting is as soon as that level three consciousness taps into higher levels of consciousness, we start to catapult humanity. We're talking once upon a time. You think how a mother's group would evolve. This is back in 30 years, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, even 10 years ago, 15 years ago. How that mother would evolve is they would catch up into a mother's group, and there'd be one or two people in that mother's group that were already accessing that level three consciousness. And they'd be like, you let your partner talk to you like that? You let them say that to you? And this starts sparking the thought. Remember the thought. Thought is the level of consciousness. Thought is where we create choices from. It sparks the thought of maybe they're right. Maybe I shouldn't be spoken to this way. And then they start maybe picking up, like think back then, this is, you know, before, let's say, mobile phones were so easy with social media and everything. So they would have to go look at things, talk with partners, talk with their mother, talk with other people around them, you know, maybe cousins, family. But they would start to formulate this new belief system, which is the evolution of consciousness, that, you know what, I deserve to be treated a certain way. I deserve this. Now, back then, that would take a long time for that to foster in the brain. Nowadays, you instantly have that thought. You're like, screw this, I'm joining a Facebook group. I'm going to go do courses like this. I'm going to go do growth courses to expand my language capacity, like my ability to communicate. I'm going to expand my self-love capacity. The accessibility to that now is so easy that we can jump straight there. Does that make sense? Give me some yeses, if that makes sense. So the idea is, because of the capacity of the world we live in, Melanie, what's up? Because of the capacity of the world we live in, our ability and ease to be able to jump in and out of this skyrockets. So level three consciousness, true level three consciousness, is about self-expression of who I am and what I want to do. Have you ever heard the term when somebody says, if people don't like you, F them, do it anyway? Like screw them, do it anyway? That is a level three term. It's a level three term of, I will reject and I will hit that energy of someone not liking me with the same energy of screw you to then move forward, opposed to maybe being kind about it. I appreciate you don't feel that. I appreciate you feel that way about me. I'm totally cool with it. If you don't want to be in my presence right now, that's totally cool. I'm going to go here and do me. Instead of being able to meet it kindly, it's met with, yo, I don't like what you're doing. Screw you. I'm doing it anyway. That's the energy of level three. What happens though is usually when the three energy gets to a point, They go, I want to now take my self-expression. Now, check this. I want to take my self-expression and I want to give that to the world, but I want to learn, I want to grow, I want to understand rules, I want to understand systems. So this person may go to university, they may go back to school, they may go join a career. And when they join that career is about following the rules, the structure, the systems. Now, for the most part, I'm going to say that as we move into this next transition of humanity, level 4 is going to be something that humans are easily going to be able to skip. Why is that? Because the level 4 rules, structures, systems, we're evolving far beyond this, and we're rapidly evolving beyond this. With things like AI, people have the ability to create, to do faster than ever before. Once upon a time, the transition of wealth was somebody who was extremely wealthy would, transfer their wealth down to their children, Now, the most wealthiest people on the planet, or not so much the most wealthiest, but the highest range of wealth on the planet is self-made people because we're able to get out there and create it. So instead of having to go get a job and stay in that job for 40 years, and then at the end of the 40 years, getting a retirement or getting the payout, you're getting that redundancy of your $100,000, $500,000, getting the access to the super, your 401k in the US. That's all changing now, where people are like, you know what? I don't want to wait that long. I want it now. Does that make sense? So this is where we really start to evolve and rapidly evolve our thinking, because it's how do we now take our knowledge. So let's say somebody wanted to, anybody here interested in certifications. So it could be life coaching certifications. Give me some yeses in the chat. It could be meditation certifications. It could be the certifications one part, the skills the other part. It's like, how do I learn the skills and how do I get out there and apply that with certifications? That idea, that frame of thinking is solid 4 thinking, right? That's solid 4 thinking. What happens is as that person evolves, it's less about the skill, less about the thinking, less about the certifications, and it's more about the implementation. It's more about the results and the attainment that can create. And this is where that person pops to level 5 thinking. Level 5 thinking now is self-expression on a global scale. How do I create something? How do I express my knowledge? How do I express my skill sets? How do I express everything I've learned so I can give that back to people and charge money from it? So this is for big part where businesses come from. This is where funnels come from, where people want to learn marketing, where people want to learn drop shipping, where people want to trade the stock market, people want to invest in property, people want to take their successes from their career and start to invest in property. This is all values level 5 thinking. Now we're not actually doing anything for the planet yet. We're not going above and beyond for the planet. We're doing this for the self-attainment of what we can create with our skills. Does this make sense? Now, let's just go. I'm going to pause here for a second because 5 is the first one where we get independence. Now, with it, let's just go back and then we'll go 6 and 7. When we look at 2, the self-theme of 2, so the strong self-theme of 2 is I am here to support, to love my community, to love my children, to love my partner. And if I can do that without the expectation of return, the expectation of love from them, if I can do that because I genuinely love them, I'm in my self-theme. If I'm doing that out of fear of not being enough, fear of not being loved, fear of being rejected, fear of if I don't, I'll be punished, that's a not self-theme. Do you see the differences? So a healthy level 2 living is I have a strong level 2 with my family. When I'm with my kids, I will move, I will do whatever I can do to make my kids or help my kids be happy, to support them being happy. If I need to wake up earlier, if I need to go to sleep later, if I need to restructure my life, when I run events, how I run my business, I will do what I can to support my children. That's a healthy level 2. Does that make sense? It's not about neglecting. It's not about saying no. Like I've got family members where it's like, no, when you have kids, they need to learn how to fit in your lifestyle. So you have to keep doing what you normally do and then they fit you. And if they get neglected on the path, that's their job to learn that because they need to learn how the real world is. Does that make sense? Just different levels of thinking. That would be a three thinking level two instead of level two. Does this make sense? All right. So then you've got, so that there's the not self and self of values level two. The self then of a three, the healthy self of a three is I want to become a plumber. I want to create a plumbing business, or I want to do something to take care of the tribe, but I do it to take care of the tribe. I think this has been debunked. So I'm just going to say this, that the whole alpha, beta, you're an alpha male, beta male, it's been debunked. It's not real. It's not true. Like there's no actual evidence to support the truth of that. Even when they did the study on the wolves, that the people actually came, the scientists came back and said, look, we're pulling this apart because it's not real. It hasn't worked the way we thought it would work. The idea though, if that person could be that provider for the family, so where we say that masculine energy for the family, still could be the feminine energy, like it could be the feminine is supporting the family at the three level, that's fine, it both works. But they're doing it in a way where they're taking care of the family, that's a strong, healthy three. Take that as in they're supporting, they're providing, they're going out there to do the job. Let's say, for example, someone went to attack them, that aggressive nature, that strong nature, whether it's a mum or the husband, the dad, the mum, it doesn't matter. But that strong protective nature, that three nature is what protects the twos. Does that make sense? Super clear. The not self is when they manipulate, cheat, and steal. Think a narcissist. Narcissist, for the most part, in their relationship is a strong three energy of I will manipulate my tribe to get what I want from them. Um, Tal, it's yeah, I could see how it could be the rigid in that sense. Maybe not knowing the sense. The idea would be the malleability of it is being able to move through depending on, and this is where we kind of get to, depending on your mood, depending on sleep. Like sleep will impact how we wake up the next day. Just sleep alone. Meditation's so powerful because it impacts. So yes, there's rigid, it's more formula, like there's a formula, there's an ethos behind it. And then depending on where we're operating, we can sit within, but we're not stuck there. That's the big thing. We're not stuck in one. We're always evolving. So then when we get to four, so the three is manipulation. So the not self. I used to have a family member. They would go to work. The family was struggling financially, but that person would always save as much as they could so they could buy cigarettes and beer to take care of themselves, even though the family was struggling. That would be the unhealthy or the not self of a three, as in I'm far too more important and I can't control my stimuluses. So then the healthy side is learning love, compassion, learning why we live for that tribe. Four, self-theme of Thor, four is giving, following the rules, following the structure, succeeding within the structure, doing well within the system. The not self is then the Karen. I don't want to say Karen just in case you have a Karen here, but that energy of everyone has to be following the rules. It's like I'm happy to do the rules. I'm happy to do me. I'm happy to be me in here. I'm happy to support the environment. I see the laughs. But then the not self theme is everyone else has to, and we have to make everyone else do it. Otherwise, society doesn't prosper. A lot of values level four energy at the moment is like, what side of politics are you on? Like the 3-4 energy comes into it, and it's like, do you attack them? Are you like controlling? Like if it's controlling values level four energy, that's the not self energy of values level four. What happens though, and I think this is Tal, this is where the rigid side of it starts to break. As we get to five, it's about self-expression for what I truly want to do, for what's good for me, for what's good for others. Now, when I say good for me, good for others, it's about creating, five is about creating win-win scenarios. Four is about following our rules. You follow our political party, you follow our religion, you follow our system, our structure. Four is about that. Five is about what's better for the growth of what we're doing. So for a lot of fives, fives get into that space of I want to create, I want to give, I want to do. I want to create a win-win. Like a three would create a business that when someone joins their business, they don't give a shit. They've already been like it's been paid, it's been done. I don't care now, done. Where a five goes, you know what? I want to support this person because if I support this person, they will keep growing and they will keep spending money with the business. It's just that whole thing of if somebody buys a product, they're more likely to buy that same or a similar product again. If you buy a t-shirt, we're 6 times more likely to purchase from that brand again. This is five thinking. This is kind of understanding that system, that flow. So the self theme of a five is I want to create something. I want to do something. I want to take my skills and do something. So let me know in the chat how many people want to create and do something for humanity, for the world, based on your skill sets. And we're not talking about transforming the planet. We're not talking about like massive, but you'd like to make an income out of it. Or if you're in a career, you want to progress in your career. You want to grow within your career. That's values level 5 energy. The not self theme of a 5 is I'm happy to tear down the planet to do it. So if I want to build a factory, I'm happy to go tear down the forest to build a factory there. I'm not looking for ecology. Ecology being is my decisions good for others, good for me, and good for the environment. I'm not looking so much for ecology. I'm just looking for how can I express myself in a way where I can get that next Lamborghini, where I can get that next Porsche. Does that make sense? Like it's about the material gain of everything we're building. What happens here is when a human being gets to the point where they have some form of safety, some form of connection, some form of I can self-express, normally that person pops to level 6 energy, which is green. Level 6 energy is the first level where we really start to heal. The reason why things like we in the last couple of weeks we've put 18 odd thousand, 20,000 people through this program, or not this program here, but through our Transcendence program, which was so 18,000, 20,000 people I think it clocked over today or yesterday, 20,000 people in a couple of weeks. The reason why that works and the reach with that is so high is humanity is moving into this space as a whole. Humanity is moving into this next evolution where we're going, if I don't heal me, no matter how good my business is, no matter how good I am in my career, no matter how good my relationship looks on the outside, no matter how good my parenting looks on the outside, level 2 thinking, in here, it's still broken. I still hurt. I still feel my shame. I still feel my guilt. This is where people pop to values level 6 energy. Values level 6 energy is the first one where a person starts to look at themselves and go, I am my path to healing. A values level 2 would look to their elder, a chief. If they're in a tribe, they would go to the shaman, the guru. They might go to a religion, and they might go to their pastor, and they're looking for healing outside of themselves. 6 energy is the first energy where we look within. Does that make sense? Give me some yeses if that makes sense. 6 energy is extremely powerful because here we get to sit in this beautiful space of love, of self-expression. And from there, it's not even self-expression, self-accountability, self-understanding. From there, we access peace. Peace is quite likely one of the greatest states that we could access, better than love. Love's cool, definitely go for love, but peace is where we can sit there in a relationship and not have expectation. Peace is where we can go to a career and not have expectations. Where you can start a business, you can start helping people without expectations. Think a 5, it's all numbers for a 5, right? If I spend $1, how do I make 2? So the expectation is how do I give to receive, give to receive. 6 is where we first start to go, you know what? I will give to the droves, to the masses for free. Does that make sense? This is where when we tap 6 energy, and the self theme of a 6 is my healing is what I want to share with the world. I see someone without judgment. I see someone without the filter of who I think they should be. And my healing is the growth of that. Yes, Sandy. You can be multiple. We definitely are. I am multiple all day, every day. I sit within. I was in the pool this morning. I went out on the beach in the pool this morning with my kids. I was a solid 2 in that pool. I was playing with them, having fun. I wasn't actually, technically, I did check emails and stuff beforehand. Technically, I did have a look at some things. I did get there and do that. So the 5 and the 7 still strong there. Although when I'm in the pool, I'm playing with them. I'm present with them. That's really strong 2 energy. So you can be. Sandy, definitely can be multiple levels at one time. We're just kind of as a whole in our day, in our week, in our year, we're leaning more towards a certain level. So 6 energy, a self 6 theme is being able to sit in healing and then run healings for others. So if like, tell me this, just type healer in the chat, healer. So Healer, healer in the chat. How many people would like to help other people heal? So we're not talking about the money here, but we're talking about the skill sets, the structure, the strategy to be able to go, I could sit here like I am with you now. I'm sitting here with you, putting you through a process, putting you through a journey where you can have a beautiful self-expression, a healing moment. This is six energy. Six energy isn't about the money. Six energy is about how do I help humanity with these skills. I'm not helping you with the degrees. I'm not helping you with like all the studies with it. It's helping with the healing. Fam, there's a lot here, right? So who we got? Patricia, Sandy, Dawn, Serena, Helen. So we've got a fair few healers there, right? So check this out. The world's shifting. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, beyond, it was five energy. How do I put something out there to get a return? Does that make sense? Give me some yeses. Does that make sense? We're moving to a world now, a new world. AI is going to take over a lot of the energy of the lower levels. The scarcity of having to go to work, spend 10 hours a day doing something you hate. AI will probably take that. What does that do for you though? That frees you up to access these six states of consciousness. And as we're accessing these level six, green states of consciousness, we can go, cool. You know what? You can run your own little circles of meditation. You can go run your own little circles of healing. You now have the ability to get out there and actually start doing something for you that you love. That's six energy. Now, the not self theme of a six is spiritual bypassing. That's where people feel like they're so spiritual that they have to tell other people they're not. Does that make sense? So I was like, oh, I couldn't believe it this morning. I meditated so well, and oh, I'm going so enlightened. The most enlightened person I've ever met in my life. That person who has to speak like this, that's spiritual bypassing. That, oh yes, makes sense. We have a lot of this in the world at the moment. Like if you go to Ubud in Bali, is not authentic. Although they will say it's authentic. They would fight like Black and Boo, Helen. They would fight like Black and Boo. Be like, no, this is my most authentic truth that I'm sharing with you. And it's like, okay, that's cool. Because if I judge that, that's the not self theme, right? If I judge that, it's the not self theme of the same energy. Do you get it? Like it's not just the bypassing. It's like you don't get it because you're not being authentic. Because I get what authenticity is. This is a web here, a beautiful web here. It's ego. It's definitely ego, and it's also it can be healthy in a way. It's human though. It is, yes, Tal. It's definitely human. It's because it's the growth of going through it to then one day wake up and be like, oh, you know what? I'm so comfortable within myself that I don't have to share that with other people. I feel so good within myself that I don't have to give that. Now that's biting its tongue, healer. So the idea is the not self of the six is the pedestal, the ego that they can put themselves on. As in, you know, the mother that stays at home or the father that stays at home and just has that, they're not into the growth, they're not into the self-expression yet. They just don't get it. You don't have to say that to someone, right? You don't have to say you don't get it. It's the evolutionary growth. Where the six that, ready? The six that loves that person for staying at home, or loves that partner who's providing for their family, or loves that person who's in the career making the world run the way it runs, or that business owner that's out there, even though they might not be doing the greatest thing for the planet, but they're out there doing, they're out there trying, they're out there, they're doing their best. The six who can sit and embody in that, that's a very healthy six. Also more comparison. Well, massive self-comparison. Who's doing, like, think of yoga, right? You're going to yoga. How many people do yoga? Type yoga in the chat. Type yoga in the chat. How many? Let me get YouTube up here. I can't see the chat here. Hila, Melanie, nice, beautiful. How many people do yoga? Yoga, the first thing when you do yoga, you go there and they say, look, this isn't a competition. It's not about you being better. Never done yoga. It's not about you being better than the person next to you while you're doing yoga. It's about your own self-expressions. But this is six, right? It's about your own ability and then, you know, pushing your own ability to the next level. But then you watch someone and they're like, I have to push that extra move just so I fit within the room or the group. It's like, it's just the brain's job of being able to dance this battle of everything we go through, belief systems, value systems, the automatic thoughts, our past baggage from childhood. Everything's just coming through at all once. But yet we just express it through certain levels of consciousness. So what happens, right, is we hit values level 6 consciousness. Beautiful consciousness, amazing consciousness. Most of you, myself, we're here doing this. The reason why I'm doing this is because of 6 consciousness. I've sat in the level 6 consciousness for the last 10 odd years, and it's about sharing it with the world. It's about creating good for people. This is where we evolve to 7. Now, there's a hard line between 6 level consciousness, which is green, and 7 level consciousness, which is yellow. There's a hard line there. And that line is when we pop with our self understanding, when we pop with our self growth, when we pop with our self healing, this is where we start to self actualize. We don't self actualize, we start. This is where we start to create this level of transcendence within life. We go beyond the matrix, we go beyond the system, we go beyond what happens day in and day out, and we go, you know what, we can start to play with this and we can start to work with this so we can get out there and actually do something good for the planet. Does that make sense? 7 consciousness. Could you say, I'm just gonna, before I go 7 consciousness, Sandy, could you say that the colors also relate to our chakras? Nah, they don't. As much as I'd love to say yes there, son, Sandy, they don't. It wasn't made that way. Kind of cool though. But the orange is 5 consciousness. So they don't really, it's not, I can't say yes. I can't say no there. Sorry, I can't say yes there. So level 7 consciousness is where we go, oh, cool. Let's take my skills. Let's take my healing. Let's take my growth, my expansion as a human being, my evolution as a human being, and let's now share that with the world. So we're 5, someone would, a solid 5 would go learn a degree in business and then go create a business to sell products, clothing, t-shirts, farming. They would create factories. Like the 4s would work in the factory, but the 5s are creating it. The 5 energy is about business, structure, money, materialism. The 7, the reason why you have a lot of wealthy people now walking around, I'm not saying me here, the fam, I am wearing a plain black shirt, but a lot of wealthy people like the Zuckerbergs, and I'm not, no, without judging names here, because I'll say some names, but Elon Musk and Zuckerberg and a few others that are extremely hyper wealthy on the planet, but they wear very simple plain clothes. This is the idea of that 7 consciousness. The idea of that 7 consciousness, it's no longer about how do I make myself look cool. It's about how do I spend more of my time giving to humanity than taking. Now, again, don't judge the names there because someone will be like, yeah, but Mark's an asshole or Elon's an asshole. It's not about that there. It's about the energy of the level 7. The level 7 is the one who would come here, learn this system, learn this structure, and go, how do I teach this to others? How do I put this a part of a model? They would go and learn. Difference is, I will say the difference with the 7 and a 5, they can afford if they, yes. The difference between a 5 and a 7 is a 5 will take a model and work it to make money. They don't, it's not overly, we're not looking at the ecosystem yet at 5. So for example, has anyone ever done, let's say, coaching? We've got a few of the crew here as well, so you can give some yeses. So you've learned maybe NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, you've learned coaching, maybe you've learned human design, but you're doing it at a level where it's not about just self-learning, it's the actual, I'm in there to get the certifications. I want the certifications, I want the structure. The difference between a 5 and a 7 is the 7, and this is where we're moving. Yes, on the journey. Yes, cool. Helen, yes, I saw that was you. The 7 goes, you know what? NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, doesn't work by itself. Life coaching may not work by itself. Meditation might not work by itself. Transcendence might not work by itself. There's an ecosystem of everything that comes together that works now as a whole. Does that make sense? So what happens is a person goes on this journey of learning and learning and learning, applying, learning, learning and learning, applying, monetizing, learning, 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 applying, and monetizing. And then they get to a point where they're like, oh, wow, where I was 10 years ago when I learned this one strategy, this one structure, that's not it. Like, that's not the answer. The answer is everything I've learned. This is now the seven energy that we get to bring to the world. Does that make sense? So the seven energy is looking for systems and structures that they can combine together that bring their self-expression to the world. The five goes, how can I just do drop shipping so I can make $1 million a year? The seven is, how can I bring transformation to the planet? Now, transformation might look at, yep, multiple modalities, achieve the goal, yep. Um, Transformation might be creating AI. Transformation might be, how do we go to other planets? How do we create humans or turn humans into, evolve humans into a multi-planetary species? It might be, the healthy side of seven is, how do we help humanity evolve? The unhealthy side, so the not self of seven, is how do we take the human away and turn them into a robot? How do we put chips in our brains? How do we merge with AI? Yeah, and look, who knows, in 50 years, 100 years, 200 years, that might be the common trend of a self-themed seven. Does that make sense? Right now, it's the human expression of values level six that's coming through. So it's how do we evolve as humans instead of taking us away from being human. Anybody, does that make sense? Just give me holler with me if that makes sense. Give me some yeses in the chat on YouTube. On here, on Zoom. Yep. So the self theme of a seven is, it's how do we evolve humanity? There is a lot of sevens at the moment where on the surface level, you'll see them do interviews online and they're saying that we're about to walk into abundance, it's going to be amazing. But then behind closed doors, they're saying, no, humanity is about to get screwed over. Like, humanity is about to get destroyed in the next 6 months, 12 months. Does that make 24 months, 5 years? Like, my AI system is going to come in and disrupt humanity, and humanity is going to suffer for it. They may pop out the other side, but I'm not overly fussed about that because I want to get there first. I want my seven energies. I want to be the one who's known as, I evolved humanity to the next level, regardless of the outcome. Does that make sense? Yet you've also got a lot of healthy sevens that are doing it for the greater good. So when we go through that, right? Within each level, within each level, we then have, is that level expressive or passive? And this is now where you're at. So let me just ask you here, just if you can, just off the top of your head, pop it in the chat, pop it in the chat, out of these levels of consciousness, just of what we've gone 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What do you feel like you're currently sitting in now? What do you feel like where you spend your time, not where you want to be, but where you spend your time now? Where do you feel like your expression is coming from at the moment? What we got? Liz, we've got 4, level 4 energy. Mario, 3 energy. What we got? Pop them in the chat. If you're on YouTube, pop it on the chat. Let's see where we're at. So Liz, 4, Mario, 3, 6, Kathy, 3, right. And tell me, where would you like to be? So where would you like to be? What energy would you like to bring to the world? What energy would you like to foster within yourself? Mario's a 5, so you get out there and create. Nice. Materialism, building, structure, making cash. Cool. Kathy, making cash. So the difference between 4 cash, 5 cash, just to give you a difference there, we got a couple. The difference between 4 and 5 cash. 4 cash is, I earn enough so I can buy a car, live in a nice house, like, 4-bedroom home, brick home, bills are sorted, life's good. 4 level cash. 5 level cash is, no, I want a mansion. I want the mansion, I want a nice car, I want the BMW, I want the Mercedes, I want the Lamborghini. That's the different levels of living within those areas. Like, I know a lot of people, I've worked with a lot of people who work in careers and they earn 100, 200 grand, 300, 400 grand a year in their career. So it's very good cash for someone who's in a career, but they have to have the nicest house on the street, the nice car, the nicest BMW. That's 5 energy inside a 4 system, if that makes sense. So 6 for nice, beautiful. So where we want to be, I feel like I'm almost Sandy, almost. So you feel like you're opening seven. Thinking modalities combined, self, nice, perfect. Sandy, definitely. That's beautiful. So we got five and seven for Helen, five, four. I think Kathy, did you change? Did Kathy drop to four? Nice. Good work, Kathy. Mixture of three as well. Sandy, mixture of, yeah, cool. And no, so what happens here, right, is just to give a reference now of why today's meditation is so important and why what we're doing here is so important with transcendence. What happens is, let's say, for example, Sandy says, like, I'm awakening seven. So I've got some really cool seven energy. Well, we've got Melanie over here. Melanie's popping a six. Nice. Let's say we're a six, aiming for seven. Nice. Let's say it's a six, or I want to be a five. So you start building the skills for that level. So let's say I want to step into six. So by stepping into six, I want to meditate. I want to start taking care of myself. 90% of the reason why most people would be here is some form of six. And if they're not, what happens with meditation is when a person starts meditation, the science shows that after about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the amygdala, it starts to shrink, as in it's not swollen. It doesn't put pressure on the brain. It starts to shrink. So the emotional triggering from a human being decreases. Performance increases. So gray matter in the brain, sorry, neurons, we start to fire off more neurons in the brain. We're able to connect neurons better, quicker, just by meditating. So there's a lot of performance growth from meditating. But the problem with this is when somebody meditates for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 6 months, that also opens up the heart. So we start to connect brain-heart coherence. This is why at the start of our sessions, we're always doing a moment of brain-heart coherence. With that, that opens empathy. That opens kindness. That opens caring. That decreases judgment. So just by going, I want to be a five that crushes it, and to use meditation to crush it more, the byproduct is also they open up that kindness within their heart. Does that make sense? So it's the path will always kind of guide there through the journey. But let's say somebody doesn't sleep well one night, plus they don't meditate in the morning. Instantly, let's say, for example, Mario's a solid five. And he's like, yeah, I'm in there. I've got my business sorted, life sorted, crushing it. Man, every day I wake up and it's like, what can I invest in? What can I spend on? What can I create next? One night of sleeping, less than 6 hours, Mario's emotional capacity drops 60%. There's a part of our brain that controls decisions. So when we start doing something that's like, oh, I don't know if I should do that, that's probably not the best idea, that part of our brain switches off. So we're emotionally more active, plus at the same time, where the logical brain isn't firing as good. That's where Mario would regress back to then maybe the recent not completed area. So they might regress back to a three. That person might regress back to a two. I know someone, they stepped into five, they went and invested like $200,000 into a business. It fell apart. They went straight back to two and just crumbled and stayed in bed for 3 months. They couldn't get out of bed because the world was out to get them. I failed. I'm nothing. I'm never going to amount to anything. How am I going to get? Does that make sense? So just one problem or one poor night's sleep, we can regress. This is where somebody could just get angry and snap at their children, where normally they'd be quite calm. That's how sleep and meditation impacts our levels. When we're sleeping, this is why day one was so important. When we're sleeping and we're meditating, we're taking care of ourselves. You want to stack this for those who have our program 67 Unleashed. You stack in exercise, diet, you stack in getting sunlight first thing in the morning, going for walks in the day. You stack in the ecosystem that sets our nervous system up to work at its best. You're highly going to live in your self-theme a lot of the time. One night you might go out and have a party, you might have some drinks with the friends, the alcohol disrupts your sleep, you only get 4 or 5 hours sleep that night, cool, that day it's going to be hard. But because you're so conditioned neurologically to be able to do life well, that day you can get through it. Does that make sense? So sleep, meditation, this is why they're so paramount inside the conscious evolution, because number one, it sets our system up to not only be the best version in our level, but also then opening up and integrating into the new levels. Fam, any questions? Do you have any questions before we jump into our meditation today? Do you have any questions? Today's meditation is now about expanding. So we've got two frames. I'm going to say this here in this training. There's two frames that we look at with manifestation. Frame number one is how do we connect with, relax, regulate our central nervous system. Remember, our central nervous system is our brain and our spinal cord. That navigates the external world with the internal world. That's the central nervous system. So, yesterday's meditation was more about relaxing and regulating the nervous system. Today, we want to expand the nervous system. So today, when we do our meditation, it's about expanding this operating system, our ability to handle stress. So today, we're going to do a little bit more breath work. So we'll do some box breathing for a bit, but then we're going to do more alkaline breathing. So this is where, and just be careful for yourself, fam. If you're someone who you might not be able to do this type of, excuse me, this type of breathing, it's cool. Just you can relax while we do the more intense breathing and then do the brain heart coherence followed by our transcendence. Again, if you have your mantra, use your mantra for the transcendence. If you don't have a mantra, just type me in the chat if you don't have your mantra. So you haven't done the actual initiation yet. If you haven't done the initiation, just type me. And if you haven't done that, use the mantra. I invite you to use the mantra Soya. Just Soya. So when we go through our 20-minute mantra session, you just sit there for 20 minutes, Soya in your mind. Soya. There's no meaning to Soya. It's just Soya. Soya. And if you have your mantra, you say your mantra. Ona, you say your mantra. So without breathing today, our job with our breathing, and there's certain breathing that we can do that expand our emotional capacity, our neurological capacity. If you've heard of Wim Hof, that would be a version of alkaline breathing. So alkaline breathing is, we'll do this today where we just do it through the nose, where you breathe in through the nose, a big breath, and you fill the lungs up, you fill the stomach up with breath, and then you drop the breath out. And then a big breath in again through the nose. And we're not going to do this intensely. So it's not going to be like, we're not going to do it intense. It's just going to be a breathe in and then out. Breathe in and then out. What we're doing here is we're opening up the oxygen in the brain, in the body, and this starts to expand our capacity. So if you want to create some more energy in your day, if you're out there, like you wake up in the morning, you want some more energy, one of the greatest things you can do, yoga nidra for 10 minutes. That's where you just lay there and do a body scan for 10 minutes, followed by maybe 5-10 minutes of this style of breathing. You're going to have like a 60% increase in dopamine in your brain and feel amazing. So for this today, what we're doing with our breath, how we're going to expand this, and we're going to start to build upon this, is we'll do about 2-3 minutes of box breathing. Breathe in the nose for 4, hold, breathe out for 6. We'll do that for 2-3 minutes. Then what we'll do is we'll do 1 or 2 rounds of alkaline breathing. So this one is more, so what we're doing is, if I could put my body to the side, is we're breathing in through the nose and we're opening the chest up. So there is a tiny bit of movement. We're not going all the way. We're not going all the way. Just a little bit of movement to open up the chest, push that breath down to the stomach, and then let it out. And then in. We got that. Give me some yeses. That makes sense. And then after that, at this point, you should be really centered, really present. At this point, we'll then do brain heart coherence. So put a hand on our heart. Might use your thumb on your heart, do a prayer position, or you could just use your finger on your heart. And then what we'll do is we'll sit there for a couple of minutes, 3 minutes, and bring our attention, our awareness to our heart. Then after that, we'll relax, put our hands in our lap, sit there. Please don't lay down. You don't need to lay down for this. Sit there. You can rest your back against a wall if you want to, or a chair. You can rest your head against the wall if you like to. The job here is we're trying not to go to sleep. We want to then, as we enter our mantra and our 20 minutes of transcendence, we want to access theta state. This is the dance between awake and asleep. Give me some yeses. We ready for this? Let's do this. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. Alrighty. So get comfortable where you are. And welcome to this journey of transcendence with alkaline breathing. In this session, we'll do 2 types of breathing. We'll start with box breathing slowly, calmly to relax the system, followed by alkaline breathing. Alkaline breathing is deep breaths in through the nose, and then just letting the breath drop out of the mouth. So be deep breath in, slowly, and then relax. Followed by brain heart coherence. and then our mantra session. So if you have your mantra, you can use your mantra through that 20 minutes. And if you don't, you can use the word soya. Just say soya in your mind. Soya. And our job is to allow ourselves to let thought relax, to starve thought from the ability to think. At this place, we can start to transcend. So I invite you now to slowly close your eyes and slowly breathe in through the nose for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold and out the mouth for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3. Out, out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Continue breathing now at your own space, your own pace for the next few moments. And now you can do this either with your eyes open or closed. It's up to you. Let's do our first round of alkaline breathing. So take a deep breath in through the nose. Deep breath in, and then let it out. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Deep breath in, all the way in, push it down to the diaphragm, and then out. Deep breath in through the nose. Deep breath in, all the way in, push that down to the diaphragm, and then out. Deep breath in through the nose. Deep breath in, all the way in, and then out. Deep breath in through the nose, all the way in, and out. In through the nose, and out. In through the nose, and out. And now relax for a moment. Just feel the energy around the body. Feel the presence of this moment. Feel any sensations. Be aware of them. And now let's go for round 2. Breathe in through the nose. Big breath in through the nose. And then out. In through the nose, in through the nose, and out. In through the nose, in, all the way in. Push that breath down to the diaphragm and out. In through the nose, all the way in, all the way in. Push that down to the diaphragm and out. In, all the way in and out. In, all the way in, all the way in and out. Two more, all the way in, all the way in and out. Last one, all the way in, all the way in. Push that down to the diaphragm, big one. And then relax and let it out. Now relax in this moment. And I invite you to place your hand on your heart and place your attention, your awareness on your heart, connecting your mind and your body in this moment, activating your brain heart coherence. With your hand on your heart, present, calm. Feel any sensations in your body start to clear, keeping your mind, your awareness on your heart. If your mind starts to wander, that's totally cool. Just place some pressure on your heart. Bring your attention back to that spot. This is where you heal. This is where your body comes alive. This is where peace lives. Keeping your attention, your awareness on your heart. Breathe into your heart. And now I invite you to place your hand on your knees or in your lap, whatever's most comfortable for you. And bring forth in your mind's eye your mantra. If you know your mantra, say your mantra. If you don't have one yet, use Soya. Just say Soya, Soya. And allow that mantra to transcend thought. If your mind starts to wander, that's totally cool. Just catch that and then bring it back to your mantra. Soya. I'll see you on the other side. And now slowly come back down into your body. Being aware of your mind, being aware of your hands, being aware of your feet. And take a nice deep breath in and then out. Wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes. If you feel, have a nice stretch. When you're ready, open your eyes. And welcome back. How do we feel? Feel good? Smiles? Oh. So what happens is when we do moments like that, and we're prepping for the last day here. On the last day, when we start to look at the manifestation components, we can incorporate visualization. Very rested, beautiful. Without going too far into this, the idea of when we're meditating and when we're doing rested went quick. It was very, yeah, it went very quick. Helen, becoming a pro, dude, nice. When we start to tap into these levels, we're firing off chemicals in the brain, the body, and this is where we start to access neuroplasticity. This is where we start to access integration. So there's two parts. One is sleep and non-sleep deep rest. In these two states, this is where we start to integrate into new information. So think of this: if somebody wants to evolve, um, that was we did about, I think, 19 minutes. I think we sat on about 19 minutes just then. Oh no, in total that would have been close to 30 minutes in total. Wait, what time is it? Yeah, would have been close to 30 minutes in total. Helen, hey, pro level, pro level. So when we look at evolving through levels of consciousness, remember we're always awakening new levels, new information, new ways of thinking, new behaviors, new skills, new belief systems, value systems. This is all change in our neurology. When we change the neurology is when we sleep, and we'll talk about this more on the last day, but when we sleep and when we're in states of deep sleep, non-sleep deep rest. So like just then, that would have been a version of non-sleep deep rest. Yoga Nidra is another space where we can access non-sleep deep rest. This is where our body integrates. So by spiking the chemicals, we're spiking noradrenaline, dopamine. By doing the breathing, we're spiking the chemicals to activate neuroplasticity. Then when we start to, we can put in some manifestation, we can put in some visualization, some emotions, and then we go into these deep rest periods, these non-sleep deep rests. This is where our brain starts to forge new information together. This is where it starts to become hardwired in our brain and body. So that's the power of what we just did. Pretty cool, right? Sometimes it's not just about accessing peace. We can expand what we have and who we are. So that's today. So today's all about levels of consciousness, understanding that, cool, once we can take care of the central nervous system, we can maximize not only the level of consciousness we're currently playing at, we can maximize what we can give to the world, but we can also open up our ability to handle and take in new levels of information. And this is the path. The path is expansion. The path is, like, for most people that are here, just give me a yes if you agree. But the path is, how do I expand? How do I evolve? How do I become more so I can share more with the world? So I can do more with the world. Can it help with influence? That is, Tal, 100% influencing the unconscious mind. What we just did then. What we're just doing then is we're relaxing the unconscious. When we do the brain heart coherence, we're linking unconscious and conscious together. That frequency of the heart, so the heart has a frequency, the vibration, that aligns it. And when we align that vibration, we start to heal. The unconscious we don't heal with the conscious mind. We direct healing to the body through the unconscious, through actions, through behaviors, into the unconscious. So what we just did then was 100% connecting our mind and body, healing the mind and body. But there's like We have trainings on this where we go. I'd love to hear. Would anybody like more to learn more around the science around this, the science around transcendence, the science around meditation, the science about transformation, human transformation, growth? Patricia, yes. Okay, cool. Always, always. Okay, cool. Well, we could talk maybe a little bit more about that tomorrow. So for the idea of what we've just done is we've opened up the gateway to access the field of consciousness in which we can then create from. So on the last day, we'll then go look at what is the creation. Tomorrow, we'll dig deeper into levels of consciousness. We'll dig into pathways on how we can evolve, what we can do. We'll go through a bigger meditation tomorrow. So tomorrow's meditation will be more heightened. We'll activate more energy in tomorrow's. So today was a practice run. Tomorrow, we'll go bigger into the breath, and that will help us drop deeper into transcendence. Beautiful process. So we'll do that tomorrow. Outside of that, do we have any questions for today before we finish up? Any questions? Are we all good? Do we enjoy it? Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Tal. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, enjoyed. Perfect. Beautiful. All right, fam. Well, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you so much for hanging out today, this evening, this morning, depending what time it is, where you are. Be well, big love to you, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace. Bye-bye.